Look around you, the chair, the light, the weight of your own body. It all feels solid, final, real. Now sit with a question that serious physicists and philosophers genuinely lose sleep over, not as a joke, but as a probability. What if none of it is? What if everything you have ever seen is running on a computer somewhere and you are a character inside it? This is the simulation hypothesis. And before you roll your eyes, I want to show you that the serious version of this idea has nothing to do with glitches in the matrix. It is an argument, a surprisingly tight one, and I will be careful the whole way to separate what is logic from what is wishful thinking, because here, more than almost anywhere, that line matters. Let me start with what is actually solid, which is just the reasoning. In 2003, the Oxford philosopher Nick Bostrom laid it out, and it has held up for 20 years. He did not claim we are in a simulation. He claimed something sneakier, that at least one of three things must be true, and you do not get to escape all three. 1. Civilizations almost always destroy themselves before they ever get powerful enough to simulate conscious minds. 2. Civilizations do reach that power, but they almost never bother. They simply have no interest in simulating worlds full of people. Or 3. We are almost certainly living in a simulation right now. Walk through why those are the only options. Suppose technology keeps advancing, even slowly, for a few more centuries. Computing power has climbed for decades, and there is no law of physics that says it has to stop here. Eventually, a sufficiently advanced civilization could run simulations of entire worlds, billions of them, each one full of minds who feel every bit as real to themselves as you feel right now. And if that ever happens, even once, then simulated people would massively outnumber real, biological ones, trillions to one. So if you pick a mind at random, your mind, it is overwhelmingly likely to be one of the simulated ones. It is just counting. And why would anyone run such a thing? For the same reasons we already build smaller versions. To do science, to learn how civilizations rise and fall by rerunning history 1,000 times, each with one detail changed. To remember their own past in perfect living detail. Or for the same reason we make films and video games, because a convincing world full of stories is simply something that minds like to create. We already run crude ancestor simulations in our climate models, our economic models, our games full of little characters who plan and fear and want. The simulation argument just asks what happens when those models get good enough that the characters inside them wake up. And there is a dizzying twist that makes the third door even harder to slam shut. If a civilization can simulate a world detailed enough to hold real minds, then some of those simulated minds will eventually build simulations of their own. And the minds inside those will build theirs. Worlds within worlds, perhaps many layers deep, which means true, base-level reality would be just one floor at the bottom of a towering stack, and every floor above it would be simulated. Pick a mind at random from that whole stack, and the chance it happens to live on the one real ground floor is almost nothing. Once the simulating starts, it becomes very, very hard to be the originals. So either that future never arrives because we do not survive it, or because nobody wants it, or it does arrive, and then the odds say we are probably already inside it. That is the trilemma. It is not a proof. It is a fork in the road, and every branch is uncomfortable. Now here is where it gets speculative, and I will flag every step. People love to point at so-called evidence that we are in a simulation. The way reality seems to pixelate at the smallest scale, the Planck length, below which distance may stop having meaning, like the resolution limit of a screen. The speed of light as a kind of processing speed limit, a hard cap on how fast information can travel. The strange way a quantum particle seems to stay undecided until something measures it, the way a video game only bothers to render what the player is actually looking at to save resources. These parallels are seductive. They are also, every single one of them, just analogies. None of them is evidence. They are patterns our pattern-hungry brains notice and then fall in love with. So is there any real way to test this? Honestly, almost none, and that is the heart of the problem. But there has been one serious attempt, and the idea behind it is clever. When physicists today simulate the forces inside an atomic nucleus, we are forced to lay reality out on a tiny grid, a lattice of points, because no computer can hold a perfectly smooth, continuous space, and a grid leaves fingerprints. It would set a hard ceiling on how much energy a particle could have, and it would make space itself very slightly lumpy, with a faint preferred direction. In 2012, a group of physicists led by Beane realized that if our universe runs on such a grid, the highest energy cosmic rays raining down on Earth should arrive just a little unevenly across the sky. They worked out precisely what that fingerprint would look like. So far, the cosmic rays look smooth, which rules out one specific kind of simulation on one specific kind of grid, and absolutely nothing else. And that is the catch, the thing that keeps this from ever being a clean science story. A truly good simulation has no glitches by definition. If the people running it are competent, the rules would always look perfectly consistent from the inside, because consistency is the entire point, which means the simulation hypothesis may be fundamentally untestable, a claim that could be completely true and still leave behind no evidence we could ever find. And a question you can never test sits in an uncomfortable place, somewhere between physics and philosophy, real enough to keep brilliant people arguing, slippery enough that it may never resolve. There is even a deeper assumption hiding under the whole thing, and it deserves a label too. The entire argument only works if consciousness, the felt sense of being you, can be computed at all. If a detailed enough simulation of a brain would actually wake up and have an inner life, rather than just go through the motions in the dark, a perfect puppet with nobody home. We do not know that it would. We do not understand consciousness well enough to say whether you can build a mind out of arithmetic. And if you cannot, if experience needs something a computer can never provide, then the third door quietly closes, the simulated multitudes never really exist, and the whole tower wobbles. So are we living in a simulation? The honest answer is the one this channel keeps arriving at. The argument is real, and it is sharper than it has any right to be. One of Bostrom's 3 doors must be open, and we do not know which. The evidence, on the other hand, is non-existent. The analogies are just analogies, and the question may be one that no experiment can ever close. And suppose somehow we did find out. Suppose tomorrow the answer came back. Yes, this is a simulation. What would actually change? The sunrise would still be warm. The people you love would still be every bit as real to you, simulated atoms feeling a simulated love that is, from the inside, no less love. A simulated sunset is still a sunset to the mind that watches it, which is its own quiet kind of answer. Maybe this is base reality, the bottom floor, the real thing, and we are among the first minds the universe ever produced. Or maybe it is a render, seamless and complete, and the only honest thing to say is that we would have no way to tell. That is the cosmic maybe at its purest. The science is real. The counting argument, the Planck-scale, the one test we have tried. The answer is not just unknown. It may be, by its very nature, unknowable. And there is something almost beautiful in that. A universe that, real or simulated, simply refuses to hand us the source code.